So thank you, jury. Thank you, 9.9, for another opportunity to come here and present in front of you. We definitely appreciate your feedback on the template. And I can tell you this was not intended. It was really around how do we put more and more content into less slides. But we do take that feedback and appreciate, once again, giving us an opportunity. In terms of what we said earlier, I think it's important to set the context once again. And that's where we want to go back and look at some of the key IT priorities which have been translated from the business priorities. And what you see on top is really the business expectation in the green bar. And below that are all the IT priorities as we look at. Business as a whole, from a retail standpoint, it's about a $390 billion industry. And what the market data says that only about 3% of that has been tapped in India, which is really the organized sector. And not necessarily all of that 3% means that it is with the large retailers, but it's really the organized sector. So it's very clear that there's a huge amount of opportunity which is available out there in terms of going and tapping to it. The question really is, are companies, and including our company, Magnum in this case, is able to identify what those core areas of opportunity are, and we as IT then are able to provide most cost-effective and economical solutions in order for business to be able to grow the revenue further. The other interesting aspect of that is that the large portion of this opportunity really lies within the large metros, even though we continue to say that, go to tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities. But the incomes are really high in the large cities, where the population has a different type of expectations in terms of using the IT systems and collaborating and stuff like that. And we believe that Magnum should continue to look at those areas as well in terms of increasing the revenue. So what we really want to do is set the context to say that if revenue has to go up, and if the net income also has to improve, then really the strategy has to be in two segments. The first, which is where the IT solution has to directly impact the top line revenue, which means either the innovations or the solutions underlying those innovations are creating a direct revenue impact on the business. Or there has to be an innovation in the spend which IT is already making as of today, right? And when I say innovation in the spend which IT is already making today, it's really innovation around how do you set up the business cases for new technology and some of those things where you are effectively able to utilize the amount of money that the CEO or the CFO of the company is actually giving it to IT. So we want to actually take it into two parts, and I want to quickly go back to the slide that I showed earlier, and I'll come back on some of the IT components of it. So let's look at some of the areas where the IT solutions can directly impact the top line revenue. And that's where we have got some, three to four key innovations. There are about 5 of them listed here, so we'll talk about that because 1 or 2 of them are interlinked with each other. The first one that we want to talk about is really the corporate employee recognition program. And I'm sure all of you work with the corporates here. You will realize that in every organization, there is a certain amount of recognition budget that the manager has in order to recognize the people who are working in the organization. And that budget could be as low as about 2,000 rupees a year, or it could be as high as about 5,000 rupees a year. But there is a certain amount of budget which is available. Now, it might not be available in all the sectors out there, but if you look at only the IT and BPO segment, which contributes to about, almost about, around 4 million employees, and has a total revenue base of about $20 billion, which is what the NASSCOM study says, then what we are really talking about is a potential opportunity of a company with the size of about 5,000 employees, which spends about 1 crore every year only on employee recognition. Now, Magnum as a company has come up with this idea a few years ago, where they converted their gift card loyalty program into a point-based system, which is also related to a concept which is there in the market today with payback, where every time there is a loyalty customer coming in, the recognition goes back in terms of the point. So which means the platform is available, right? We can tweak it a little bit, convert that into a corporate recognition program, and take it to the company in terms of a private label website for them. And we have branded that in the name of a winner circle program, where the managers in the company can reward the points to those individuals. Those points would be credited to the loyalty card, and the consumers can come up to any one of the stores to actually do the purchase. Now, we know, at least with the survey that we have done, there are about 3 companies already in NCR who are doing this, but they're doing it through their own internal sites. and there's also a company which is also providing a service. But they have a challenge where they are providing a platform, but they don't have the ability of actually doing the effective redemption. So let me just go a little quickly on some of the other ones. There are a few other innovations where we have, we are talking about new concepts, and this again is targeted specifically to the new generation, which is effectively using internet today. And we see that there is a very large internet penetration which is happening already in India, which means people are ready to use the internet related services. And we are talking about setting up the virtual dressing rooms capability where people can come in, create their avatars, try the products, send those links to their friends and colleagues, ask for their feedback, and then come to the store and pick it up, right? Now, in line with that, we are also talking about a very small segment which could actually take the initiative of designing the products on their own, especially in the apparel and the cosmetic and in the accessories segment. And depending upon the target campaign that Magnum would run through the Facebook and the other social media networks, we can actually go back and help them identify the product, which can actually go to the production line and then come back to the store. We're also talking about auto replenishment of the home grocery, where we are talking about taking that concept into a catalog-based purchase. And especially again when people are busy, they're working late hours. If the inventory is already known that this is the stuff that I buy every month, I know I buy 20 kgs of flour and ghee and this and that. Why not catalog it? And again, especially for the loyalty customers, and say that you go back and say whether you want to add anything in that or not, and we will automatically deliver it to your door. And already the distribution channels on cash on delivery are very effectively being managed today, especially in the large metros, and we believe this is another solution through the website's enhancements we can actually deliver. We are also talking about an in-store option here, which is called a convenience shopping, where a similar concept can be made available to people. You come to a store, and you come together with your family, and you don't want to spend time in buying the grocery, but you want to go and take a look at new books or buy the apparels, and we give you a kiosk. Your profiles are already there. You just go and do a confirmation, swipe your card, take a receipt, and by the time you come back with your other shopping, your material is actually available at the collection desk, and you can actually go back and collect it. So that's where we are talking about some of the innovations related to the top line. But going back into looking at some of the innovations related to where the IT spend is being done, we want to focus on one of the areas which is the most important area, which is the data center area, which is where the larger amount of spend is being made today. The way business has grown, there are close to about 11 data centers as of today. We are talking about consolidating those data centers into 2 core data centers. It's a business which is not a core business for Magnum. We are not making a recommendation that IT should continue to manage and run those data centers. It should be given to the people who know how to do the job best. A great opportunity where a business case could be evaluated, and we could look at a carrier colo option, where the data center could actually move to closer to the carrier locations. And we can, even though there's going to be a disadvantage because now the call centers and the other locations will have to connect to those remote data centers. Today they are within the building. But we believe that with the carrier colo, some of that subsidy on the bandwidth can actually be built in, and there could be an innovative business case in that particular area. We're also talking about some stringent rules coming in, especially on the BIS standards for compliance. And more importantly, there's a huge amount of energy spent which is going in the data center today, where we believe that there's almost about a 30% save opportunity. And outsourcing the data center to a colo is going to be probably a great idea. In terms of cloud, we are recommending that the way business is growing and the amount of agility which is needed in terms of adding systems, cloud definitely is the next thing to do. It's no longer a concept. I think it's a reality. And we believe that if there has to be a faster time to market that Magnum has to look at for setting up new stores or buying new companies, then it has to be in the cloud only, where the compute and the storage has the highest amount of opportunity to be consolidated. And we are talking about integration of some of the applications. We'll very briefly talk about that. But we are saying that that's where the private cloud option within the colo carrier actually exists. But we are also talking about some of the unified communication services, which are collaboration services, which are more operated in a federated model today, which need not be in a private cloud and can be made available on a public cloud. And we're talking about a combination of those options here. There's also a pain that the organization has today for the back office staff and the internal staff, which is where the HR systems and the whole experience from the onboarding to the paycheck is actually becoming a little bit of challenge. And we are saying that instead of IT going ahead and developing an enhancing system and asking for more money from the company, we should go back and look at service directly from a third-party supplier. And there are companies which are doing this as low as about $1 paycheck per month, and we believe that we should be able to leverage some of those services more effectively. Unified communications is the key. It's the next thing to do in terms of improving the collaboration between employees within the organization and the end customers. And we believe that if the productivity has to be enhanced, people have to be able to talk to each other more effectively. And that's where the ability of solutions that Microsoft has come up with, which has integrated email, voice, data, chat, all those options, we are recommending that we should go for that. Again, a pay-by-use model. Magnum does not need to make any investment whatsoever. And we believe that these are ready-made solutions and we can actually bring them up very quickly. In terms of how the application stack eventually would look like in our proposed recommendation, there are going to be social media. There are also going to be traditional web-based users calling either through the web and also traditional voice users. What we are recommending here is that the retail application suite between the Hypermart and Magnum should be integrated, because right now they are running as two separate POS systems and two separate CRM systems. And for a call center agent to be able to serve the customer better, and a POS to give a one common view and build a standardization for the changes, effective change management on that, we are recommending that those two applications should be consolidated as early as possible. Whereas the rest of the systems, which are multiple SAPs and the ERPs and the Oracle financials, we are recommending that we should continue to use the integrators and the threads because the costs required in terms of revamping those systems is going to be substantially high. We are also recommending that we should be leveraging the big data concepts here. There's a huge amount of data repositories here and there, which we should be able to leverage it as early as possible in terms of integration and build more analytics on it. And this is where we have seen about 300 people today in Magnum in isolated centers doing some kind of a data analytics. And we are recommending that we should integrate and do a consolidation there, bring all of them together at one place, build a high-tech analytics capability, which has more stronger BI systems available to them, and reduce the manpower over there as well. So there's a, there's a reduction of manpower there. We are estimating about 100 colleagues over there, and there's also a revenue increase opportunity. And then finally, we have a business service management opportunity where we are saying that the IT system outages can come down. Now, this might not really apply when we are saying that the data center actually has to be outsourced, but there are still going to be some applications we keep it in-house. We are recommending that we should be using effective service management concepts. Especially on the machine-to-machine, there's an in-store energy saving opportunity. Working with some of the consultants and looking at a high-level business case, we believe that there is a 10% in-store energy efficiency that can come up. And looking at about a 5.1 million square feet of retail space that Magnum has today, and an average rate of about 11 rupees per square feet energy spent, we believe that a 10% can actually give almost about a 7 crore saving if we implement energy saving programs in the stores itself. Right, so that's where we are. Happy to take questions.
So I have a question. There are a bunch of very interesting ideas you had on the revenue side. How to enhance revenue, a bunch of them. In terms of implementation, do you have a sense on how you are going to sequence it for the organization?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have looked at a high level the effort to implement versus the time to market and the cost involved in that. And we believe the first one, which is the recognition one, the platform is already there. With the incremental cost, we can actually take it out very quickly. The other ones are still a little conceptual ideas right now. Technology probably is also evaluating. We're looking at doing smaller POCs, but over a period of 3-year time, which is the overall target that we are looking at from a revenue increase perspective, we believe that they can be sequenced accordingly. So the one at the top and probably one of the two from the bottom actually have a highest probability with the least amount of cost to be implemented successfully.
I think you covered a whole lot of areas and a lot of them with a great amount of detail and crispness. What I didn't see, and which is one of the key burning issue out here, is on the application side of things, because there is a bit of all kinds of stack because of the bookworm coming in and a number of other things, POS being JDA, and then you've got all kinds of element in it. And one of the key issue was to minimize the number of IT vendors you're going to deal with. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we are recommending that on the retail side, the suite should be integrated completely. There are 2 different POS applications which are being used today. There's no standardization. You can't cross-sell, you can't upsell. The CRMs are different. So customers call up, you can't leverage the common call centers. And that has a minimum amount of cost in terms of integrating.
Your time is technically
the asset is
up.
already depreciated.
But we'll allow you another 10 seconds to finish.
All right. The assets are already depreciated. We believe that getting the investments on integration and buying the new application suite on this is going to be far more easier. The other ones are far more complex. We are still recommending that we should continue to use adapters and integrators to do that.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.